Namaste and welcome to the Ananya Child Development Center podcast. I'm Madhvi Adimulam, and today we are exploring a deeply personal and often overlooked aspect of the autism journey, the experience of siblings. Growing up with a brother or sister on the autism spectrum presents unique challenges and joys shaping the lives of everyone in the family. To help understand this experience, I'm honored to welcome Dr. Pranav Kumar Chenicheri, co founder of Ananya. Pranav brings a unique perspective to this conversation, not just as a professional in the field, but as someone who has lived this experience firsthand. His older brother, Varun, is a talented Hindustani musician and is also on the autism spectrum. Pranav, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
I think many of our listeners, both parents and siblings, will find comfort and insight in your experiences. Pranav, let's start at the beginning. What are some of your earliest memories of Varun? And when did you first begin to understand that he was different or that he experienced the world in a unique way? Was there a specific moment of realization or was it a gradual process?
I think from the age of 3 or 4 is when I started to understand that my brother doesn't like the same toys that I like, or doing the same things that I like, or going out to play with friends or meeting people. And he wouldn't talk much or answer any questions. And I think at that age itself, I started to understand that there is something different with my brother. There was no particular age when I understood that there's something different about my brother, but I think it was a gradual realization and then an understanding of who he is as we grew older.
So, was it emotionally difficult for you to process all this at that age?
It was not emotionally difficult because I think at a very early age, I understood that some people have life in a certain way, and I accepted the fact that this is how my sibling is. There was a little apprehension and a little confusion with regards to why is my sibling like this. But as time went on, I thought, okay, every sibling is different, every parent is different. And so I thought, this is how my sibling is.
So, did you feel that, uh, like me and Acha at home, did you feel any difference in the way we were parenting you? Did you feel left out, or did you feel that you didn't get any attention? Or
No, I think that way both of you did a great job when it came to that. I anyway demanded a lot more attention, so I got the attention that I needed. But I think we both had fun because I worked around the fact that Varun had certain difficulties, but I still would try to engage him because maybe he was not very social and I was almost hyper social. So we would pull that together and find a middle road, and somehow I would still try to engage with him.
yeah, I remember once or twice you asked me, why doesn't Varun play with me? Does he not like me? Why is he not playing with me? I remember we got you this book called My Brother is Different. And we were reading that book for you. And then you slowly started understanding why Varun has different rules at home. Why don't you have the same rules as Varun? And also, you kind of made the most of the situation, I think. I remember we used to go to, say, McDonald's. We used to get a toy, and you always used to tell me, anyway, Varun is not going to play with this toy, can I choose his toy also? And you were choosing both the toys, and Varun was into learning scripts and languages, and the toy cover used to have all the languages, instructions on different languages. And you used to give your cover also to Varun, and he used to take both the toys. And Varun was very happy with keeping both the covers, and you were very happy with both the toys. I never saw you fighting for toys because there was no problem at all. He would easily let go of his toys to you. My parenting became easy because you both got what you wanted without fighting.
I remember one birthday when we were in the UK. I asked for a very expensive toy. I said, anyway, you don't get Varun any gift for his birthday. Why don't you get me this and consider it for the both of us?
Yes, I remember. Even now you say that, by the way. So, I am the one with expensive taste, so in any way he doesn't ask for anything, so you can give his share of money also to me. Yes. So I think we had a great time in childhood too. There were situations I remember which were challenging in school for you because you were both going to the same school in the UK and you were always worried about Varun. Can you talk about your school?
This was the most difficult stage for Varun as well, because this is when we had gone from India to the UK for the first time, is when Varun was put in a big school. And in the UK schooling system, the parents really cannot be there. You had teachers and shadow teachers. And so Varun was away from anyone from home for 6, 7 hours. And there was always this anxiety that I had that maybe they're not going to do right by Varun, or just not take care of him as well as we would. And being a younger sibling, I think I had to step into the role of an elder sibling throughout my life, because of the fears that he might get bullied or something. And in fact, I remember one incident where there was a child who was trying to bully him. And that's I think, the first moment when I realized that I have to always be there to protect my brother, is when I actually stood up to that bully and asked him to get away from him. Warren didn't even know what was going on.
And I remember you told me every time when Varun goes to the toilet, I also go to the toilet just to ensure that he's safe in the toilet. Because there are no teachers in the toilet all the time to look after him. And once you did something, I think in India, in your preschool, pushed a child away from Varun. The teacher called me and told me that Pranav pushed a child. I came to the school and then the teacher called you and you said, somebody had to take care of my brother. Since you were not doing anything, I took up that responsibility and I pushed the child away from him. I was also worried that because all the time, if you were in school, all the time at the back of your mind, you had Varun. Oh, this is a break time. So where is Varun? Even though Varun had a shadow teacher, Varun, it's like having two shadow teachers for Varun, you and the shadow teacher. Yeah, it is actually difficult for siblings if they are in the same school.
I don't think it's difficult. In fact, I felt a lot safer knowing that Varun was in the same place as me. The kind of person that I am, I don't know, I will not speak for all siblings, but my personal experience was the fact that I felt nice knowing that, well, Varun is there around me. Worst case, anything happens, I'm there. I can help. If he was somewhere else, I think I would have been even more worried. It was nice to know that he was just a corridor away.
Did your friends ever ask you about why is your brother like that or why is he behaving like that? How did you even talk to your friends about Varun?
When I was in school, at least in the UK, I don't think anyone asked. I think everyone knew, because Varun would have separate classes and separate teachers, or even if he was in a classroom, there'd be someone with him. So in the UK, I don't really remember. I was also very young then. But after coming back to India, since you had always told me, and we had spoken very openly about autism and what Varun has and how we're dealing with it, and I was part of everything that's going on, I was very upfront and I used to try my best to explain to my friends whatever my understanding of autism was at that age. And I'd say, yeah, this is how my brother is. And then I would also explain how he is a savant and a prodigy, and he knows all these languages and he's good with all these things. And that's when I think that would pique their interest, and they would say, wow, who's this? I'd like to meet this person. That's how I'd explain to my friends initially whatever my understanding of autism was.
Did you ever feel that your friend was staring at him?
I don't remember anyone staring at him particularly. But I think in general, kids stare. They will if there's something different. Even if there's a child with crutches who's broken their limb, they will stare. I think those kinds of stares probably, yeah, they were there. People were looking, or children, other schoolmates were looking. But that never bothered me. I don't think that ever bothered me, because I knew that the staring was out of curiosity. There was no ill intent in the stare. It was just that it's something different.
Most of our holidays were in Kerala. Did you feel that you had to make changes? Did you feel burdened by traveling with Varun?
When we were younger, Varun was a very picky eater. So packing food and getting Varun to eat while traveling, I remember there were times when he would carry dosa batter and even special podis and chutneys that he would like to have. And there was a phase where I think for a couple of years he only ate dosa and ketchup. He had multiple phases when it came to food, and he was an extremely picky eater. But over the years, Varun that way has grown and changed so much. Now he eats pretty much anything, and in fact, he loves trying new cuisines. But yeah, to go back to traveling, I think the food part was definitely something difficult. Apart from that, Varun is very easy to travel with, because if he sits in a place, he sits in a place. If he is entertained enough, he won't have a problem be. sitting anywhere, as long as he's occupied. I think we'd always manage to keep Varun occupied. He'd have his books with him, he'd have pens with him, and he would have scribble in his notebook and write in different languages. He'd go through pages and pages by the time we got to Kerala by road.
Yeah, food was one thing. And I remember he was taking lots and lots of supplements. And you were telling me, asking me, why are you only giving these supplements to Varun? Even I want the supplements. So I remember talking to the homeopath and getting those sugar pills for you just to make you feel as important as Varun. Because every morning we had a routine for Varun supplementation. And you used to say, where are my supplements? And I used to give you those pills. So you were very happy having those sugary pills. Did you have any sibling rivalry, kind of any conflict issues?
With Varun, I never had anything because I felt responsible for Varun. I think sometimes I think I was the older brother. Sometimes I felt like a parent as well. I think even now, the kind of emotion that I have towards Varun is that of a parent because I had to sometimes step up and be a third parent. And so I don't feel, I never thought of him as a rival. I always thought of him as someone who needs to be taken care of and who needs to be protected from all the evils in this world. I never looked at it like that. I don't think we had much of a rivalry. I think when I was younger, there would always be a little bit of who gets the spotlight kind of a battle between the both of us, and he didn't even know he was part of that. That was a me thing, not a him thing.
Even movies, you wanted to watch kids' movies, and Varun was absolutely not ready to watch movies.
I remember I think we tried and it was too much the sounds, the volume of the theater and the lights in the theater. It was a sensory overload for Varun. I think we tried a couple of times when we were in the UK. And then I would go with you, I remember.
Yeah, we both used to watch movies. Was there any moments of connection that you guys shared and shared interest? I know that you both are into music and you play tabla. Did you take up tabla because Varun was singing, or how? Why did you even thought about tabla?
I never could stick to one instrument. You know best because you paid for all the different classes that I tried to attempt. I tried the keyboard, the guitar, all sorts of other instruments. I tried singing for a while. None of these things worked. And then finally, I realized, well, Varun's doing Hindustani. Why don't I try the tabla since that seems interesting? I'd never considered an Indian instrument. So I think it was kind of a 50-50 sort of a decision. 50% I chose it because I gave up on all the other instruments, and 50% because, well, this is familiar enough and it might be of some use to Varun as well. Shared interests apart from that, well, we both like food. Now Varun has widened his palate and he enjoys all sorts of different cuisines. I remember even as a child, and all of us, as in the cousins as well, we would know, and even my aunts and uncles, if Varun chooses something, that means it's the best possible thing on the menu. Everyone can order that blindly because Varun has a very particular palate. And so shared interests, I think it's a little difficult for Varun and I to have shared interests because the plane at which Varun is thinking and the plane on which I am thinking, I am bogged down by more mundane things than Varun is. And so maybe it'll be difficult for us to have shared interests, but there's no lack of love.
Yeah. I remember you asked me when he won Pandit Jasraj Award. You said, every time Varun's photos only come in paper. When will my photo come? in the
I think the year after that mine came in the newspaper.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So I think he was setting more like a typical elder brother. He was setting some standards for you. He said, no, I need to do something as good as. I don't think in our family we ever looked at Varun as somebody who was less.
no, never.
We always thought he was better than us and we have to rise to that level. That was a thing you also had about Varun.
Though I've had to be an older brother for Varun, I've had to be there. I also feel like Varun is the reason why I have excelled in life. In many opportunities where I could have done less, where I could have chosen the easier road, I chose the more difficult road because I thought that this can benefit Varun more. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I chose medicine as well.
I think so too. We had this conversation. I asked him, are you sure you want to choose medicine? You are a person who loves arts and poetry and this and that. history. Why are you choosing medicine? You should choose what you love. He said, I remember the answer you gave. You said, I can do history and poetry for a hobby on my own, but I can't do medicine as a hobby.
I think the
Yeah.
exact answer I gave you was I can be a doctor who enjoys poetry and literature, but not a poet who can do surgery.
You surprised us when you chose this. We pretty much knew you would to choose arts. And suddenly, after your 10th, you came and said, I want to do medicine. You took us by surprise.
I think it was one of the best decisions I could take. I think there was also yearning for understanding autism, to understand many such issues that are there that we are dealing with on the daily in Ananya. So many children come with so many difficulties. I think there was also, as I grew older, I wanted to know more and understand more. And I think medicine is a career and a path through which I can understand more about all the difficulties that so many children are facing. And not just my brother, but a lot of other children that I see here in Ananya.
And also, we feel, I think now, since we run Ananya, for us, it's like there are many Varuns who come here.
Every child that I see here in Ananya, I see a little piece of Varun from the past. I see Varun 10 years ago, I see Varun 15 years ago, I see Varun 20 years ago. And so that's why I really love seeing all the children coming in and going upstairs for their therapy, because I see a little piece of my brother in each one of them.
Yeah, completely. Even when I'm talking to parents, always I'm constantly comparing in my head how was Varun when he was 6? How was Varun when he was 10? How was Varun when he was 3? Constantly. And I'm telling that no, no, he'll be fine because I know that Varun has gone through this and he's just come out of it. This little fellow also will come out of it. So, just morning I was telling, I think it gives us that perspective that many people don't have because we see Varun every single day, we live with him, it's a different level of understanding I think it gives us. Did you have any resentment anytime?
Never, not for a second. I think the way in which I was raised by you guys, I I don't think that was ever even a feeling that I had. I never felt that I missed out on something in life because of Varun. In fact, I thank Varun for many of the things that I've gained in my life. My work ethic, my compassion towards people, my striving for greatness that Varun has put in me, the perfectionism. There are so many things. I think primarily, if I was to talk about one thing that Varun has taught me, is how to be a very compassionate person. I think that has helped me be a better doctor and understand people a lot more. Because having a sibling with special needs has it's taught me to look at people through a different lens. When I see someone doing something that, say, angers me or I don't like, I always first, before the anger sets in, I always think, is there something that might be bothering them? Is there something troubling them? Why would they do this? And so that is something that I thank Varun for. He's given me a new lens to look at the world through.
And also I remember I used to introduce you to the children, these kids who used to come here, who had social issues, who did not have friends. I used to ask you to befriend them, be with them, play with them, invite them to parties. Sometimes maybe I pushed you a little too much. I remember just say, okay, do this, do that. But I think you rose up to the occasion. You knew that this kid was not getting invited. You knew this kid did not have kids to play with, and you would even though sometimes it was very hard for you, you would come and tell me that it was hard, but we somehow managed.
I remember the children that you're talking about. They were a year or two older than me or around the same age. And I think this is by the age that you had asked me or you had said, why don't you make friends with these kids? By that time, I had understood that, okay, these kids need help. And so I was befriending them, yes, but also from the point of view of someone who's trying to help them out and make life easy for them. Befriending them, I learned a lot. I learned about their life, and I think we did end up becoming good friends at the end of it.
Yeah, you stayed in touch for many, almost a decade or more, till some of them moved out of India. Yeah, I remember. True. And I also remember you because of this reason. I asked you, can you be part of my friend's charity, Ishwa? You were the first batch of volunteers, young volunteers who helped Haimanti auntie. I also don't remember any resentment, you coming and telling me anything like that at all. In fact, every time there was anything, it only made you pick up some new skill, or you said, "Oh, why don't I read languages? Why don't I know so many languages? Why don't I play an instrument?" Varun is doing it. Like, okay, let me go and learn a language. Let me go and play an instrument. I think that was always, you took it that way rather than I want to be as good as Varun.
I
Yeah.
think that was in those moments there was a role reversal where he became the older brother that I was looking up to. I think for us it's just the term brother. Older, younger changes according to the situation. I think with Varun and I.
Yeah. True. Absolutely. As you said, Pranav, there are many siblings who come to Ananya with their moms waiting downstairs while their siblings are getting the sessions. So a lot of kids are waiting. They come and do their homework here. Moms are sitting. I talk to them, and I don't see resentment in any of those kids. Like I never saw in you at all. I think they just get it that the parents are just trying to manage two kids, one with special needs, one with other. Not in so many words, but they just somehow understand.
I may be biased here, but I think the siblings of people with special needs are much better siblings than other siblings. We don't fight, we don't argue, we just get it.
Yeah.
We are compassionate, we are loving, and we are all around better people. I'm sorry, but I'll just say it like this. I'm sure other siblings will not like this, but we've had our fair share of trials and tribulations. I think we deserve to have the title of the better sibling.
So you are now 25 years into this. Okay. So what would you tell younger siblings who are maybe 10 or 12 and who don't know what's going to happen? What will you tell them when you look back?
I would tell them to be patient. I would tell them that things will be fine. And 10 is a great age because at 10, you still get to have fun and understand your sibling without having the responsibility dawn on you. You're still very young. And so you can still enjoy that time. Of course, I would not tell a 10-year-old this, but I would just say have fun. Your sibling is your sibling. Your sibling is a different sibling. Your sibling is not like another sibling. You should be lucky if he's an older sibling, he's not beating you up or he's not pushing you around or asking you to do things for him or her. And so you are lucky. You have a sibling who's always there to play with you, to be with you, or someone that you can have around you at all times. But for older siblings who are maybe in their mid to late teens, I would ask them to step up. This is a responsibility that you will have, and that's something you need to accept and understand. It's not something you should fear. The earlier you start understanding that your sibling is going to be with you long after your parents are gone, is the day that you truly understand what it is that you want to do in life. I think you plan life, you organize life a lot better when you understand that there's someone who's going to be depending on you forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember I told you that we're working on making a group home, and don't worry, Varun will be taken care of. He'll be in a group home. The first thing you said, no, I don't want him to be in a group home. I want him to be in my home. I want him to live with me, with my family. He's part of our family. Why is he living elsewhere? Because, yeah, if there are no siblings and if there is nobody to take care, it's fine. But when I am there, why is he not living with me?
The idea of a group home, I think, is something that we really do require in India, and that is something that needs to be done, sure. But personally, I think I remember when you asked me, I just took offense to the fact that you would even consider that I would want to have Varun somewhere else and not with me.
After you told me, I went and did some research to find out what does the person think, the person who has autism, what do they think, and what kind of impact will they have if they live outside their homes. And I found some horrible things, like they just don't want to leave home.
Even the concept of an old age home, I don't understand. I want my parents to be with me. I think it's a very Western notion to leave home or have parents and children staying separately, even sometimes when you're in the same city. I do not believe in that. I'm that way. I'm very much Indian in the sense I want my parents to be with me. I want my brother to be with me. To know that they are safe, especially in the time when they're the weakest. I don't understand the concept of having people away. But yes, there is a requirement when there is no one. There are many parents who have no support system. You remember that one mother, the old lady,
Yes.
who her husband had passed away,
Yeah.
and she had, I think, a 45 or 46-year-old child with
Cerebral palsy.
cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
And I remember, I still this day, whenever I think of, an adult with special needs, I remember the fear in her eyes.
Yeah.
Not fear for anything apart from that.
Money. She
She
was
was
very
very
well
well
to
to
do.
do. She
Yeah.
had helpers, but her health was failing. And her child, she was so afraid of what is going to happen next. And that fear, only because of that fear, I think that group homes definitely need to exist. In fact, on that note, also coming back to the topic of siblings, I think parents in India and across the world have many support groups and forums where they can talk and discuss. But I think siblings don't. So I have been working on something, and hopefully we'll be able to create a sibling community soon where siblings of people with special needs can come meet a couple of times, maybe in a month, just sit and discuss, talk about the day to day little things, the troubles that they faced in that month, or the questions that they have. I get to meet people who are further along in the journey, and younger children get to meet me who at wherever I am at the journey. And I think that was something that I yearned for. I wish there were more people like me that I knew. We're working on something to come and bring that and make that into a reality. And I hope that that'll be something that'll be there for children and siblings to access soon.
And they just don't need to have a sibling with autism.
It could be any special needs. It doesn't have to be specific to autism.
Thank you so much, Pranav, for sharing your incredibly personal and insightful story with us today. Your experiences, your honesty, and your perspective are invaluable. You've given our listeners a glimpse into the world of a sibling growing up alongside autism, and I know your words will resonate with many families. It has been such a beautiful conversation. You've highlighted the challenges, the joys, the unique bonds, and the profound lessons learned. You have also shown us the power of empathy, understanding, and advocacy. We hope this conversation has provided you with the comfort, inspiration, and a deeper understanding of the sibling experience. Remember, you are not alone on this journey. There are resources and support available to help you and your family thrive. If you are looking for more information or support, please visit our website or contact one of our 5 centers in Hyderabad. We offer a wide range of services, including assessments, therapies, and parent support and sibling support programs now. Thank you for joining us on Ananya Child Development Center podcast. We'll be back next time with another insightful conversation. Until then, remember to celebrate the unique strengths and talents of every child and to create a world where everyone feels accepted, valued, and loved.